Hi, this is Rabbi Orlofsky, and welcome to the third year of the Parsha in 5, wherein in 5 minutes we tried to give you a little insight into the Parsha that hopefully will help to enhance your Shabbos. This is already the third year. And I know that there are people who enjoy it and say over these Vortlach, and they always know they have something to say at the Shabbos table, and it helps to keep them focused. What a wonderful, wonderful opportunity this is. And special opportunity for me to, normally we don't thank the sponsor in the Parsha of 5 because we don't always have enough time. But we have the sponsor of the Parsha of 5. I don't know if he's sponsoring this year, but we're certainly moide for last year that he sponsored the entire year. And, there are certainly sponsorship opportunities. Don't think he'd mind if somebody else wants to get in on the action. Okay, it's interesting that when we make Sheva Brachos, the Sheva Brachos are, we say that the Chosin and Kala should have the Simcha of Adam and Chava began Eden Mikedem. A special Simcha, right? Why? I said this over once at the Sheva Brachos. What is the special Simcha in Gan Eden? And someone said, there were no in-laws. All right, that's cynical. Here on the Rabbi Orlofsky show, we never say anything cynical. Or as I once said to someone, oh yeah, right, I'm sarcastic. So I don't want to be cynical. But here's the thing. When there's only one guy and there's only one girl, and in fact they were attached, and they're separated, for sure it's your shidduch. There's not a lot of thought that goes into this, like or vos. You know what I mean? Who am I supposed to go out with if not this person? Yeah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you that sense of clarity that this person is meant for me. This is mamash my bashert. And I know that the two of us are going to build the world. That's the bracha we give to every chosin and kala who get married, because every person is an olam katan. Every person is a world unto himself. And when you get married, you have to have that bitachon. If you go back to my shidduch series, but I know there are people who just watch the Parsha in 5, so they may not have ever seen the shidduch series. But where we talk about this, but you need to have bitachon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent me the right person. Because I don't know. You don't come with a sticker. There's no barcode. Otherwise, life would be so easy. Everybody would have a little barcode. You just put them together and say, oh, I bashert. And if it doesn't ring, you say, oh, sorry. Look how many evenings in the hotel drinking Diet Cokes I saved. You understand? I have to correct that. I once said that joke, I was sitting there drinking Diet Cokes, and the girls corrected me and said, no, Diet Sprites. I said, why is that? Because you have your teeth whitened before you start going out, so you don't want to stay in the Coke Zero, fine. But you know for sure. You don't know for sure. So why is that? Why don't we know for sure, like other than Chava knew? What was the how come we don't get to go through that? So the Ben Yoda in Kedushin gives an unbelievable mashal. He says, there was a rav of a town, and he was very smart. There was a large town, and he was on top of everything, and he realized he was getting old, and he couldn't do the job properly. And so he decided he was going to leave and take a smaller shtella. This is unbelievable. Most people do not leave a position until you drag them out kicking and screaming. Most people don't know when it's time to go. It's exceptional. There was a Yankee ball player, Lahavdil, Joe DiMaggio, and he retired at the height of his career. He still had a few more good years, but he retired. And everyone said, Joe, why? He says, because when a kid pays to come to a Yankee game, he deserves to see Joe DiMaggio, and I can't give that to him anymore. Yeah. And people don't always realize it. There was a chazan. He was starting to lose his voice, So they said to him, listen, this is the last year, So he would sit for 3 minutes and cry, Al tashlicheni, please, Zikna. Don't throw us away when we're old. But people have to have enough sense to know, when you can't do it anymore. In the words of Dirty Harry, a man's got to know his limitations. You understand? So this Rav was very smart. He knew it was time for him to go. So he asked Rishus, and they said, fine. So he sent out his resume to smaller communities who were thrilled to be able to have a Rav of this caliber to become their Rav. And so he took the position that he thought would be best for him. And then he set a date, and they were going to send a wagon to come and pick him up. So he was all packed up. He was waiting, and the wagon comes to town. And the wagon driver says, where's the Rav live? They said, why? He says, because I'm coming to take him to the lookout. He says, what? You're going to steal our Rav? Get him! And they all rush the wagon, and he turns it around, and he runs away. The Rav's sitting there, doesn't know what happens, and eventually he gets a message that I tried to come, and they tried to kill me. So he calls in the elders of the city. He says, I thought you said it was okay for me to go. He says, yeah. He says, but they attacked the wagon. He goes, I don't know what happened. Of course not. Okay. So he comes back a second time, and he's coming through town. And again, they go, he's back, get him! And they rush the wagon, he runs out. The Rav's waiting. So he calls back in. He says, okay, what's going on here? He goes, nothing. Okay, listen, I want you to promise me that you're going to let the wagon come in undisturbed. Well, I can't. I said, promise me. Okay. So the wagon driver comes in. He's pretty nervous, and he's driving down the road. And by each side of the street, they're screaming at him, thieves, murderers, you're taking our Rav, I'm going to get you. They pull up to the house. He says, okay, Rav, let's do this fast because these people are crazy. Let's get out of here. So they pack everything up, and he goes to say goodbye to the elders of the town. And he says, why'd you do this? He said, Rav, this was a parting gift. What do you mean a parting gift? He says, when you show up in that next town, listen, right now they're excited to have you, but you'll paskin against somebody, a din Torah will go wrong, something's going to be a problem, and suddenly they'll say, this old guy, the other town just wanted to get rid of him and we got stuck with him. Let them remember they had to work hard to get you. Says the Ben Yoyada, we don't have a little stempel, because other than Chava, they had das. They could see from one side of the world to the other. They understood everything with perfect clarity. But us, when things start getting tough, we say to ourselves, maybe this isn't really my bashert, If this was arranged for you like they do in some positions, my parents didn't know what they were doing. This wasn't real. I was tricked. I was this. The shadchan lied to me. I was like, remember that you had to work hard to find your bashert. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us in a world because he wants everyone to get married and to build a world in Mirza Hashem. Everyone should be zoichet to be able to build that olam. Shabbos.